I just think I think we're in a fundamental shift in society right now where we really do need organizations that kind of help most of us, because of our technology and because of our wealth. You know, we're almost divorced from or shielded from sometimes the more difficult parts of life, although not really. They're in our families, they're in our homes. We live this stuff all the time, you know. But
we've got the boomers and the sandwich generation.
Yeah,
we've got
you know, the aging. We got
caregiving.
Yeah, but we need organizations that actually put you know, that connect folks in a way that isn't necessarily partisan or and beyond, you know, even religious affiliations. Not that any of us are by any stretch, you know, embarrassed about where we're coming from. You know, but honestly, the love of Christ and the Spirit of Christ is, you know, blanketing all of creation and undergirding all of creation and infilling all creation. There is no real enemy out there from our viewpoint, and it's just all a matter of how do we
the Lord has compassion on all He has made. It says in the Psalm.
Yeah.
On all He has made. That's everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we want to be His arms, His heart, His hands. You are, I want to show a couple more pictures from our night, November 5th, some special people. Okay, I look like a deer in the headlights because I had not seen Reverend Bob Rumble in probably 18 years. Right. And here he is with his wife, Mary Jean. Their granddaughter has been an intern here with us. And he was there because his work with the deaf is something that you plugged into in your journey, Tim, and it's reflected in your book, Dancing with Dynamite.
Oh yeah, I was playing in a band in the early 80s with Bob Rumble's son, Derek, who is now taken over for his dad as the executive director of the Bob Rumble Work with the Deaf. And Derek was going up to this camp and he couldn't do band practices. You know, I was 16 years old and I was like, hey, I want to see what this camp is all about. And I ended up going. I ended up spending 15 summers there. I met my wife there. Derek and I remained the best of friends. And then even with the Hope Exchange, one of the 4 partnering agencies we're coming alongside of is the Ontario Camp of the Deaf that Bob Rumble started. And how do we actually engage with developmentally challenged and deaf children and get people involved there and be hope givers in that setting. So they're one of our partnering agencies.
Fantastic. I was being reminded by one of our staff here that in the early days, you used to go to that Toronto bus terminal and meet the kids landing in the big city so that you'd get there before the pimps to say, do you have a place to stay? But, I mean, it's just, the Hope Exchange is just so logical. Hard as it is, isn't it, to see you leave the street. It's just the next thing. It's the next thing and it's the right time.
It is the right time.
And Steve, you're encouraging it with your gifts. In a very special way. It may seem a little early, but you are going to want to mark your calendar, and I don't even know if it's going to be too early to get tickets.
Tickets went on sale yesterday.
Okay.
Tickets are on sale.
Here's what you're going to see around town and everywhere, a promotion that looks like this. It's December 3rd, it's Massey Hall, and we've made a page so that you can see all the numbers that you are going to need for an evening that Steve is now going to tell us about while we look at the coordinates. Let's do that.
We're going to do a concert at Massey Hall. This is Steve Bell concert with the Toronto Symphony Orchestra. And I've been doing orchestra concerts across the country for the last couple of years. And I really wanted to do Massey Hall, and I really wanted to play with the Toronto Symphony. And then when Tim's Hope Exchange started building, and we realized that there was actually they were kind of launching at the same time. I wanted to do this. I phoned him up and said, you know, maybe there's a way that we can sort of bring the beauty of orchestra, and you know, because there's a majesty and a grandeur there that is so ennobling, and so it made sense to me that these two things matched. You know, that maybe there's a way of using this as an elegant launch for what Tim's doing, and it brings more meaning to the concert. So that's basically what it is.
I haven't even seen this promo. Are we going to get a taste here?
Yeah.
Watch.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Steve Bell. For the last few years, I've had the amazing privilege to have performed over 20 concerts with symphony orchestras across Canada and the United States. We've recorded a CD of that material with the Winnipeg Symphony and filmed a concert for both broadcast and DVD. It's been quite a ride, and there's nothing like the magic created when over 60 musicians, all at the top of their game, submit to one score.
Soft field of clover, moon shining over the valley. Deep calls to deep, for he created me to be his own. Burning ember, I remember love's first light in me.
I'm so pleased to be bringing this event to Toronto on behalf of the Hope Exchange. Join me and the Toronto Symphony Orchestra December 3rd at Massey Hall for what I'm sure will be an unforgettable evening.
I just have to tell you that this experience became mine about 3 years ago, Steve, right here behind the Crossroads Center with the Hamilton Philharmonic.
Yeah.
I have the CD and the DVD, which captures what you are going to be hearing on December 3rd. Okay, I have to just show you. I even still have the ticket stubs. Why? Why do I have this? Because, don't get emotional, I was in a worship crisis. I was in a place where I was going home, and I won't even say where from, and putting on the Messiah, because there wasn't a connection for me. And I was given these tickets, and it was an epiphany. And I've just been, well, I got to show you a picture. My last photograph. I got my husband and Steve's wife, Nancy, and because I knew I was going to go over to this man and say, I love you. And it just had to all be okay, because you rescued me in a place where I needed to be rescued. And it has become a phenomenon, you and symphonies.
Who knew? Yeah, no, it's kind of nutty how this happened. We just got a call several years ago from the Winnipeg Symphony saying, would you do a concert? And we did it. And there's no way of knowing if it would work. You know, I'm kind of a folky guy, but it worked. And Mike Jansen, who you know, did the scores, and he is outrageously brilliant, of course.
He was right there under your nose.
I know, he was right there. We didn't even know he had the capacity. You know, he'd been playing with me for years, and so he ended up doing all the scores. But there's you can't really describe majesty. You have to experience it. And I think often, even in our modern day contemporary worship experience, that's one of the pieces that's missing. Because you do need that excellence in music. You do need that, and you need the grandeur and the collectivity. When you got 70 people at the top of their game, all submitting to one scores. I mean, even theologically, what does that mean? You know, when these people are individually capable of amazing things, and yet they, in humility, all submit to the same thing, a third thing happens. And it's who God is. You know, I remember when I was doing the first concert, one of the first concerts, and I was looking over at Mike, and Mike was playing, and the orchestra was going behind me, and I was just being overwhelmed by this whole thing, and the whole scene froze for me, and I hate saying I heard God speak to me, because I didn't hear it. It wasn't an ear thing, but it was more in the center of my chest. But I felt God saying to me, "Pay attention to this. This is who I am." You know, and it's far. We can speak about who God is, but these kind of events, I think, really do. People say, "I experienced it."
Yes.
And that's a different kind of knowing. You know, and we do need to have head knowledge, of course, but it's when you develop the capacity to bring the experience into your very person, that's when things start changing.
Tim, I think we can expect God to show up. Massey Hall,
yeah,
December 3rd.
It's going to be exciting. There's other elements to it. There'll be some of the book readings. We're hoping to have some of our, at least one of our special dancers with us. Yeah. There'll be a whole essence of the Hope Exchange, the DNA within it, compounding things.
Wow. So. Mark your calendar. Call now and get your ticket for a good seat. I am thrilled that what I experienced almost a year ago, you are going to be experiencing. Make it a Christmas gift for somebody. Stay with us. We'll be back.